Now, I know most of my viewers are soccer fans. However, I'm not a one sport content creator. I have viewers overseas that tell me in the comment section how intrigued they are about the growth of football, which in American terms, they're referring to soccer. However, I want my viewers to know that I'm not a one sport content creator. Not only do I want to be well-rounded and well-educated on multiple American sports, but I want you to also be well-rounded and well-educated on multiple American sports. So that when you have conversations with others, you won't be limited to just having one way of thinking, but you'll be a well-rounded person. So for this monologue, I'm taking a break from soccer to discuss college football. You know, people, you can truly argue with your colleagues about college football being a Ponzi scheme, because there is a legitimate argument in this. The system is not created for everyone to benefit from, but yet and still, people keep jumping in the fray. What if I told you that there's an industry that exists in America where the careers of grown men, and when I say grown men, I'm talking about 50, 60, 70-year-old men, where their careers are held at the mercy of teenage boys? What if I told you that there's an industry that exists in America where the careers of grown men are held at the mercy of teenage boys? College football is that industry that I'm talking about. It's an industry that features youth as young as age 16 compete in an unofficial league with a desire to earn a job in a professional league. This is not the type of football that many people around the world are accustomed to. For this is rugby style football, which is basically rugby and football combined into one, which is called football in America. College football is not only the official minor league for the National Football League, it's also a developmental industry that prepares the youth who partake in it for other sports related careers, such as coaching, physical training, media, physical education teacher, etc. College football in the Southeast takes this sport serious, similar to the English and their Premier League. The collegiate game is more cherished than the professional league in the Southeast because the universities tend to represent the state as a whole rather than just one major city. The players that are members of these collegiate football teams serve as a reflection and representative of every major county and district within that particular state. So just think about this. Like, have you ever watched a college football game and you wonder where are most of these people? It's just so many people on the team, and where are most of these people from? You know, the NFL is different. You have a lot of people on the team, but they're from a variety of different cities and locations. But college football, typically, especially in the Southeast, most of the members of the football team are from similar cities and counties within that same state. That is why supporters tend to support the collegiate team more than the professional teams. Because with the college team, every county and every city is typically represented. But in the professional league, because you have a variety of people from different cities and different states, they don't unify the people together like the college teams do. When a collection of youth players of a college football team consistently perform well from a certain region, that district tends to be a hotspot for head coaches, or in non-American terms, managers, to recruit. For example, The state of Florida has been a college football factory for the past 50 years. Thousands of youth from Miami in particular have finished high school and have gone on to numerous colleges throughout the country to perform. It's not only Miami, but the state of Florida in general. Let me tell you how important the state of Florida has been to the college football industry. The state of Florida has been so important that many college programs wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for the Florida boys. The Florida boys are the reason why many colleges even exist. I mean, it's the reason why many college football, not colleges, but it's the reason why a lot of American college football programs exist. The Florida boys are carrying many American football programs on their back, literally. Due to college football not being an official major league, there's a huge disconnect from the majority of the teams throughout the country. The only group that seems unified in ideology and structure is the Southeastern Conference. The others are affected by the disconnect, which causes realignment of conference allegiance rampant. Conference realignment is when a college chooses to leave one conference and join another. Like before the COVID pandemic, this probably happened like every 5 to 10 to this probably typically happened like every 5 to 10 years. But since COVID has started, like talks of realignment has been more common. It's like every month or every 2 or 3 months we hear news about realignment. It's crazy right now. Like one thing that COVID has shown the college football industry is it really shown us like who's legitimate and who's really not legitimate. Like it has widened the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Like if you really want to learn about the American economy, like just watch college football. College football will show you the difference between the rich and the poor in America. Like you don't have to read a book about economics. You don't have to listen to politicians talk on TV. Just watch college football if you want to learn about the rich and the poor, the difference between the rich and the poor in America. Just watch college football. You'll learn real quick about the difference between the rich and poor in America. The schools that are heavily affected are the ones that are financially struggling to keep up with the big revenue schools. Within the past 2 decades, there have been more than 10 schools to jump up to NCAA Division I status with lofty ambitions to be known as a major collegiate program. The sad reality, however, is that many of these schools, their ambition doesn't match the reality of them becoming a big school or a big football program. But yet, you still have programs like Old Dominion, Charlotte, Texas San Antonio, Alabama Birmingham, which is a program that actually shut down. They stopped football. They stopped sponsoring football in 2014. However, due to college football being a popularity contest and a good amount of people being angry and pressure from the media, they decided to come back, which in my opinion is a bad idea, because the system is not created for every school to succeed. The system is not created for everybody to succeed. And I believe that there are some wise people in that Alabama Birmingham system, whoever those people are. I believe the people who said that football should go were wise people, because they know they can't compete with the Alabamas and the Auburns and the LSU and the Georgias. Those schools got too much money. But all you need is a large group of people to get angry and get the media to support those angry people, and football will come back. So Alabama, Birmingham came back. But among Alabama, Birmingham, you also got programs like South Alabama, Georgia State, Kennesaw State, Mercer, Incarnate Word, Lamar, Utah Tech, and even New York's Long Island University joining the fray. Who knows? Look, I know New Yorkers don't care about college football, but Long Island University, they want to be a premier college football program. Maybe they can be the USC of the East Coast within the next 50 to 100 years someday. A lot of these small schools think they're doing a good thing by adding football. Like, they think they're helping the marketing brand of their respective school, but what they're really doing is helping the rich schools that's already been established for the past 60 years get richer. The big schools like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Miami, Florida State, LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, they generally create an economy around the smaller schools, the smaller Sun Belt Conference schools, the American Conference schools, the Conference USAs, the Big South, the MAC, the Middle American Conference, and the HBCU schools. Like, the big schools usually create an economy around those small schools. And instead of the big Southeastern Conference schools like the Georgia and Alabama having to travel across country to play potential tougher non-conference opponents like Ohio State, they just paid the smaller schools to basically lose a game so they can keep a clean record before interconference play. The big schools, now listen, like if you're an American, you already know what I'm talking about. But I'm mainly explaining this for my European viewers who don't know much about this college football system. So let me repeat myself. Instead of the big SEC schools having to travel across country to play potentially tougher non-conference opponents, they just paid the smaller schools to basically lose a game so they, which are the big schools, could keep a clean keep a clean record before inter-conference play. Georgia would pay a school like Kennesaw State good amount of money to lose the game. Alabama would pay an Alabama State to lose a game. So those two schools could have a clean record before they eventually face each other within the same conference. The play to lose scheme may look bad for the smaller schools on paper, but not financially, because the money helps the smaller schools to get better equipment for the football players, renovate the stadium, get better seats, get better seats, better food in the concessions, and to pay back debt, among other things. The smaller schools are just pawns, and they haven't realized it. Alabama, Birmingham, at one point, they realized that they're just a pawn, but getting rid of football wasn't a popular thing to do, so they had to bring it back. And they might suffer for that, because the smaller schools are just pawns, and they haven't realized it. Why is that, you may ask? Well, college football is like a Miss America contest. Everybody wants the nice hair, and a nice nose, and the nice cheeks, and the nice eyes, and a nice cleavage, and the perfect shape to fit in that nice, fancy dress. But yet and still, only few can reach the top 50, and only a handful can be the 10% of that top 50. And only a pinch of the 10% can be the 1%. College football is a never-ending pyramid. College football is like the Squid Game. Remember, I don't remember what episode of the Squid Game it was, but that was the only Squid Game episode that I watched. The red light, green light episode. Remember the red light, green light episode on the Squid Game? If when that light turned red, and if you moved, like, even if a drop of sweat fell from your body, you got shot. That's what college football is like. College football is like the Squid Game red light, green light episode. And if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to watch it. That was the only episode from the Squid Game that I watched. That's what college football is like. One bad move, and when I say one bad move, even a drop of sweat from your hair, you get shot. One bad move, when in college football, one bad move will not only cost a team fortunes, but it'll cost the life of their program. Just ask the Georgia Tech program with their decision to leave the SEC in the 1960s. Their life has never been the same.
Who you wanna be like? Who you picture me like? What will I be when I grow up?